To be unmuted is to be honest, authentic, and unapologetic with your words.
Being unmuted is also being vulnerable and sharing a part of your identity.
Being comfortable and confident enough in yourself to say what's important to you.
To be unmuted means to be completely and truly yourself.
Standing firmly in your beliefs and allowing your voice to ring and be heard.
Unmuted means being unrestrained emotionally and politically.
Means waking up on a rainy day, yet still whispering poetry into the wind.
Unmuting means turning on our microphones and cranking up the volume to make sure that we are heard all over, because the time has long since passed where we sit around and wait for change to come find us.
Welcome everyone to our special anthology launch party episode of Girls Right Now Live Unmuted. I'm Grace Aniza Ali, a proud Girls Right Now mentor.
And I'm Emanuela Ajamai, Grace's mentee.
I'm also part of the hardest working anthology editorial committee that edited all 151 stories in the book. More on that later. So Emanuela, the Oxford English Dictionary made Unmute its word of the year for 2020. We at Girls Right Now weren't surprised. Were you surprised? I wasn't surprised.
Not at all.
We predicted that. And what I love about this word is that its technical definition is actually to restore sound. But for me, the restore part is the important part of the definition because it means none of our voices are ever really lost or gone, but they can always be restored.
And to me, unmuted means that I have the chance to amplify my voice in storytelling. Tonight, Grace and I will be your co-MCs for a night of turning up the volume on boundary-pushing performances that will deepen not only your understanding of the world, but of yourself.
For more than 23 years, Girls Right Now has been a leader in arts education as a nationally award-winning nonprofit and the first writing and mentoring organization for girls and gender-expansive teens. And every spring, we published an award-winning anthology. I have a growing collection behind me, you might see. And tonight, we are thrilled to celebrate the launch of Girls Right Now Unmuted, featuring those 151 original stories I mentioned earlier. They're multi-genre stories from our mentees and our mentors who will graduate from the program as published authors. Girls Right Now Unmuted is now available for purchase through our indie bookstore partners. We've got to support our independent bookstores like Mahogany Books, Cafe Con Libros, and McNally Jackson, and will be out as an ebook starting in June.
At our spring performance series, we share multimedia along with multi-genre work. We also take note to honor the women authors and media makers who inspire us. These women also amplify the voices of the next generation of writers and activists. Tonight, we'll be thrilled to have Abby Dare, author of The Girl with the Louding Voice, joining us as our Agent of Change honoree. She wrote a beautiful foreword for Girls Right Now Unmuted that meets the moment that we are in.
You know, even with such a trying and sorrowful year, we at Girls Right Now forged through, like many of you, and published our annual anthology. And not only that, over the past year, we've transformed all of our programming to virtual. We enriched our curriculum to focus on wellness and on racial justice, and expanded our audience globally to reach more than 75,000 people. We could not have done any of it without our generous Agent of Change partners, especially Dutton, who produced our beautiful book, the Girls Right Now Circle, our dedicated board of directors, our most phenomenal staff, our anthology editorial committee, yay committee, and all of you, our community and supporters. You know, I have to share with you, Emanuela, that as the anthology committee went through these pieces one by one, multiple times over in our editing process, we were really in awe of the creativity of our mentees in spite of so much adversity they had to face this year. And it was so beautiful to see you and all of our mentees show up and pour your heart and souls into these pieces.
Wow, I can only imagine. Actually, I can't imagine. I can see it because, you know, our Girls Right Now mentees are really talented. And when I say talented, I mean talented. Their writing just goes to show how unique each of their voices are. And all of the performers you'll see tonight have worked so hard with their mentors. I mean, meeting each other virtually each week to put together such incredible work that offers a sneak peek into our new book.
Their stories span genres and mediums from memoir to visual art to lyric poetry and cover topics like culture, community, and coming of age, both in our current reality and in fantasy worlds brought brilliantly to life. If you're joining us on YouTube tonight, we highly encourage you to get loud and share your cheers in the chat during the show.
Okay, let's get into it. Presenting Girls Right Now Live, Unmuted.
Hello, I'm Ellen Horan, a novelist. I had the good fortune to be paired with Kailiani Yu, a senior headed to SUNY Binghamton next year. I was taken by her lyrical writing style and interest in music and art. For Girls Right Now, she began an illustrated story of fantasy fiction, and I was astonished to see the intricate and intriguing drawings that she created by using an app on her phone. Because I also publish illustrated books, I plan to work with Kailiana to lay out and print a copy of this beautiful work. She will present an excerpt for you now.
Hi Girls Right Now, I'm Kailiana. What you'll hear is an excerpt from my illustrated book in progress, The Little Girl and the Fox, which is based on childhood reads like The Little Prince and Alice in Wonderland. It tells the story of a girl from a floating kingdom who travels around her world to seek out a magical fox in order to satiate her endless desire for friendship. As I read, I'll share some of my attempts at constructing this world through colorful digital illustrations. I hope you enjoy exploring this realm of wonder, adventure, and magic. A little girl in a white nightgown gazes into the tendrils of an amber fire in the fireplace. She's very small, no larger than a dog if it were to stand on its hind legs. Her limbs are stick thin, and she seems like she could fly away with a gust of wind. The little girl doesn't flinch, but the flames skip too closely. She holds her hand out invitingly, waiting, then striking, but she can't catch an orange flame. She feels disappointed, but her dismay is extinguished in a heartbeat. The little girl looks down at her hand. The skin is red and singed, but she doesn't feel any pain. She looks back at the fire. The girl thinks the flames look like dancing fire ribbons, waving their bodies cheerfully. She wishes she could catch a ribbon. If the girl did, she would drag a ribbon out of the fire to see if there is an end to it. Or perhaps, she wonders, is it infinitely long like the beautiful ribbons at the fair? The magician would pull endless ribbons out his sleeve, and the girl liked to imagine that there was a tiny man spooling threads together in seconds from inside his arm. She saw the magician at a fair that only the sons and daughters of the wealthier families in the kingdom could attend, where the infamous magician presented his whimsical tricks. Rumors of his feats, from surviving 1,000 arrows in the back to breathing life into inanimate things, traveled so far that even the king, the girl's father, had heard of them from up on his 300-foot-tall throne that had an enormous indigo gem embedded at the top. The king had wondered if the magician's tricks could stir some emotion into his own daughter, so by his order, the maids had dragged the girl out of her room and promptly brought her to the fair. The little girl is lost in her memories while reminiscing about that magical night of the fair, of the trinkets and toys, the bright lights and the noise, of a particular red fox that the magician held tight to a glittering orange ribbon, nothing compared to it like before or since. The little girl wishes she had snagged the ribbon with that fox and dragged it home. She wishes the fox was by her side right this instant. The little girl pleads to the fire desperately, asking it to give her the orange box. To be continued.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I'm thrilled to be introducing you to my mentee Basmala and her piece, I'll Be the Sun If You'll Be the Moon. It's a fictionalized, very lyrical self-portrait that plays with tropes that you might think are familiar in really special ways, and it has some of my favorite hallmarks of her writing in general. It's nostalgic and impressionistic and musical and surprising, and most importantly, I think it's unafraid to look for the beauty that lurks in the darker corners of our lives. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
The room is bathed in sunny gold. It drapes and settles like silk, across the tiled floors, over the gilded archways, up to reach the high ceilings in the tinkling glass of the chandeliers. In the midst of it all sits Moon in her reflection. When Moon looks down at herself, she sees a blurry mass of silver-streaked gray. When she looks at her reflection in the mirror, she sees clear as day, a smiling face, pretty eyes, raven hair. She blinks and her reflection changes. She sees sharp teeth, narrowed pupils, arched brows, a face that is beautiful in the way a devil's might be. Each time she blinks, the reflection shifts time and time again without fail. The brightness of the room's yellowy glow wanes and waxes. Moon is tired. Unbeknownst to Moon in the other room, Sun is growing small and frail. Her hopes hang on the golden light she emits reaching Moon's room and guiding her here. Sun spares none of her own light for herself, and so her room is dim. Bits of dust hang in a faint beam of light, suspended midair like stars. She feels like a dripping flower in the shade, stem bent low to the ground, left to stagnate and wither slowly away. She doesn't know how much longer she can hold on. Moon, she says, though she knows no one wants to hear her, or knows how to. I don't think you will ever know how to find me. Sun does not know what she looks like. She wonders about the mirror in Moon's room and wonders what kind of reflection she would see. She wonders if it's one worth seeing. She wonders if her reflection would look different when she stands next to Moon. What does it look like when a midday moon and an afternoon sun meet in the same sky? In her golden room, Moon is frightened. The devil in the mirror and all its terrifying loveliness will not go away no matter how many times she blinks or looks away. The room around her is coming apart. The chandeliers crash to the floor. The tiles of the floor crack down the middle. Black rock crawls up the gilded archways. The golden glow flickers and dims. Moon does not notice. The devil grins and demands to be seen. Moon closes her eyes and decides she will never open them again. Sun opens her eyes and wonders what color the sky becomes when there is an eclipse.
Hi, my name is Paige Carlotti, and my mentee is Dalia Cordero. She and I were first paired together last year, and we haven't stopped laughing since. Her sense of humor and insight melt together perfectly to create a writing style that is mature beyond her years. Unfortunately, this will be our last year together, as she will be heading to Binghamton University in the fall, and I will be starting at Columbia Business School in the summer. We're so grateful that this organization brought us together and know that our time together at Girls Right Now is just the first chapter.
Paige and I have been a team for 2 years now, and it was with her steadfast support that I managed to complete my piece for tonight, a very raw, emotional, personal narrative about my experience returning to my home country, Brazil, and the feelings that my old house evoked within me at the time of my arrival. Without further ado, this is an excerpt from You Have Been Here Before. This place reeks of me. That's not a bad thing, no. But everywhere I turn, there is evidence I've existed here before, that I've lived and breathed this house just as much as its current inhabitants. Every piece of furniture has a picture frame, my own youthful face staring back at me from every corner. And yet, I ghost my fingers along our old DVD players and they come back stained with dust. I draw the curtains open and they shriek against their support bar. Windows we used to throw open every day are rusted shut, dirty with disuse. Rooms we used to frequent smell stale, covered with boxes and old knickknacks no one has the time or patience or desire to unearth. This house has aged with me. 5 years is a long time, I remind myself, and let that reality wash over me as many times as I need it. A very, very long time. Long enough to move on, but not enough to forget. My own eyes smile at me from my mother's lap. I think I was 5 in that picture, maybe 6. And they'll always be there, immortalized. That moment in time, some Christmas in my youth, belongs more to my family than to me. It belongs here, on their high shelves in their huge house with too many rooms left vacant. All of these moments do, actually. Although it's me in them, they were never mine to keep. I am both inside and outside, both beheld and beholder. Cursed to touch but not to grasp, not to bring close and squeeze tight and breathe in, inhale so deep as to swallow it down and keep it. I clutch at picture frames and feel the memories slip away like water, feel them running along the earth of my brain and eroding, so quiet and gentle you'd think them benign. I try sometimes to hold them, but all they do is trickle down faster, delighted at my inability to live within them, to absorb them, to feel anything other than clenched teeth and unshed tears. Walking away is necessary defeat, perhaps even welcome. What a relief, to brush away regrets like cobwebs, to shake them like half-remembered dreams. And yet, my fingers quake along the edges of a memory, and I try hard to keep it still. Thank you for listening.
My name is Livia, and my mentee's name is Sierra. This is our first year together as a pair, and we're on opposite sides of the country, so we've only ever met over Zoom. But nonetheless, our Monday meetings have become a bright spot in pandemic life. Sierra is usually working on several projects at once: musicals, plays, short stories, poems, songs, and many of her works have won awards and contests. So, without further ado, I introduce to you, Sierra!
Hello! My name is Sierra Blanco, and I am the author of the piece you're about to hear, which is titled Juliet and Rosalind. It was mildly inspired by Romeo and Juliet, but also inspired by a series of recurring dreams I had, and I hope you like it.
Meet me at the white chalk walls, hope all drawn and leaded. There to make the dreamers fall, once lost is now beheaded. Catch me at night, pale as bone, the comfort fast passed over. There to let the dying crawl, a simple end to somber. Sinner, sleep the moon tonight, white is blinding day. Liar, turn an eye tonight, wordless what they say. Meet me at the rust-bled door, long and always bending, there to make the quarrelers fall, what once and never mended. Penny for your blues, they said, tomorrow will be different. Pretty to be used, we met and bowed before in reverence. Sinner, shake the stars tonight, white as binding day. Liar, turn a cheek tonight, lips to hell and pray. Meet me where the lyric ends, though melody forgotten. Long lost is that owl-eyed girl, the body rained and rotten. Liar, pull a string, she begged, and whisked herself away, off to darker nonsense lands where wraiths and wrongs might stay. Left behind a message, though not far that it could spread, a story that she wove herself would barely keep her head. A prayer for the unwitting, the lovers, last the stream, she gave herself a talisman, a promise, how it gleamed. A stolen tinsel locked away, a drop made out of dare, a place to haunt her years away, a lock of true love's hair. Sinner, wake before you go, tonight will last all day. Liar, take a gasping breath before you turn away. Meet me in the garden, like the poems she once gave, there to take the doubting breath before her lover's grave. Penny for a soldier's soul, a witch's mark, a game. Sinner, steal that angel's light, and liar, steal the blame. Meet me at the white chalk wall, I will not leave it bare. Red blood door, I've done this before, I'll replicate each swear. White or dark as morning's turn, I haven't got a clue. Forgive me not, I wrote this plot, and now I'll see it through.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Furshine. I'm a first-time mentor, and my mentee is Erin Gutierrez, who's finishing up her senior year. What amazes me about Erin is how deftly she balances everything. She is passionate about social and educational equality. She is a musician who happens to be a yearbook editor. She has taught me about Filipino balikbayan boxes and what it's like to work at Trader Joe's alike. In December, Erin was accepted at Tufts. I am so very proud of her, and I'm so excited for this community to get to know her.
Is there an extent to which a friendship can last? In this fictionalized letter, I explore what happened to some of my middle school friendships that dissolved once high school started. This piece is heavily influenced by my journal entries, which I write without stopping. And if you were to see this in a Google Doc, you'd see all sorts of intentional crossouts. And that's because I want to stay true to the nature of letter writing. The sign-off, yours versus your friend, keeps a distance. It's not too formal, but it's not with love. This is yours, friend. September 16, 2020. Dear H, my clothes have been sitting on my bed for 5 hours, including those Camp Ruby sweatpants you know and love. They still have that stain from your lasagna on it, if you were wondering. You know as well as I do just how mad my mom gets when I don't put my dishes away. In March, my lunch plate would sit on the table until 7 p.m. when I would finally put it in the sink. I could almost hear my mom yelling at me all those years ago on our FaceTime calls, when we'd eat dinner and talk for hours about the latest episode of Girl Meets World, and cringy memes, and our moms nitpicked over our grades, and boys, and potential Manhattan trips, and boys. Speaking of, a One Direction meme came up on my feed the other night. Something about Zayn, Liam, Louis, Niall, and Harry all being spotted on the same street on separate occasions. One Direction into 5 different directions. Classic joke, really. But seeing it made me a little mad. How is it that such a tight-knit band could follow their swing? There is nothing wrong with their friendship, or at least I thought so. Is there an extent to which a friendship can last? Is there a hidden expiration date somewhere? I found the middle school autograph book at the back of my shelf the other night. I hadn't seen it in years, not since 8th grade. I opened it right to Gabe's page, which read, "Been a cool 3 years, Ren. KIT. I never needed to say anything as boring as and artificial as keep in touch, because we were us, Riley and Maya from Girl Meets World. We were going to peruse the streets of Manhattan after school and bump into One Direction on their way to their concert, too. We were going to stay on FaceTime for more than 5 hours at a time and keep laughing about stupid memes. We were going to take on the world together. I don't know how I felt after seeing your face in English class last week. Sometimes I still think back to that time in the caf in 6th grade when we were studying for our Spanish tests and comparing our lunches when you knocked over your lasagna onto my pants. No sweat, though, because we laughed till our abs couldn't take it anymore. Yours, E.
Wujia has an incredible appreciation for language, and that extends beyond spoken English. She's found inventive ways to communicate with her grandmother, who doesn't speak any English, and she started a sign language club at her school. During one session, we were discussing the limitations of self-expression, and that prompted a question. What's the experience of a colorblind painter? Wujia set out to answer that question in her poem, and fittingly, her performance is inclusive of deaf audience members as well.
Hi, I'm Wajiha. I'm a high school junior, and this piece is called Your Favorite Color, and it's from the perspective of a colorblind painter. And I thought it'd be interesting to write about a painter or like an artist who's trying to navigate a piece without actually being able to see the colors. And it's really self-reflective about the narrator and how she chooses to define color for herself. And I'm only going to be performing an excerpt, but if you're interested in reading the rest, it will be on the Girls Right Now Anthology. So yeah, thank you. Checking over her shoulder, she mixes the colors in her palette. Unsatisfied at the infinite hues in her canvas, she looks up at the portrait. The white villa she painted on top of a cockeyed hill, the violet trees that stood awry from the land around it. She stepped back, focusing on what surrounded her instead, inhaling the smell of solvent on her fingertips and mineral spirits in the air. She exhaled harshly. She looked around her at the unfinished pieces, rectangular reminders of Ruth's stopping points that begged to be filled. Piece number 1, a vilified ballerina. She chose to paint the hems of the skirt pink. Pink was the floral scent when you walked into a flower boutique, or the smell on the florist's apron, raising a brow at her as she handed her raw and lotus's flowers. Are you sure you want to buy these, miss? She was not sure, but she chose to buy them anyways. Lotuses were supposed to be easy, less complicated, but pink on her ballerina looked out of place. She could not put a finger on it. It was confused, or was she? In another work, an oil painting of a sunset. The sky was a fiery golden orb that rose from the horizon while the clouds melted into oranges then reds then blues. Why orange then red then blue, she thought. Why not red then orange then blue? She heard the door shut behind her. Hey. She looked to see her friend entering, exasperated, putting a bobble hat and a tote bag on her stool. How's your art going? It looks really good so far. Her friend rocked on the heels of her sneakers, gazing at her piece. Oh. She paused, thinking about what to say. I don't know yet. Why don't you maybe add a little yellow there for the sky, she asked. She picked up her liner brush to make futile strokes on the painting. Why would I paint the sky yellow, she asked. She picked up her liner brush to make futile strokes on the painting. Why would I paint the sky yellow, she asked. Why not? Is there even a difference for you? She frowned. The blues and yellows did look similar to her. She crossed her arms and didn't respond. Okay.
Hi, my name is Julia. I'm a freelance writer based in New York, and I'm Maeve's mentor. Like all GWN pairs, we met remotely over Zoom this year, and we found common ground in a love of classic novels and mysteries. Maeve has an amazing ability to observe what's going on around her and communicate it really well, and this piece is a perfect encapsulation of that. So take it away, Maeve.
Hi, my name is Maeve, and this piece describes Christmas in New York City, specifically during COVID. Christmas in New York City is like no other. Evergreen trees shed their tiny pine needles all over the gray concrete, and festive lines line classic brownstones, and both tourists and natives glide along the ice ground of Woolman Rank. Films like Elf, Serendipity, and the classic Home Alone 2 only add to the unique holiday scene in New York. Of course, with the unconventional year we've had, the jolly spirit struggled to hold ground. For rent signs plagued the city, and boarded-up stores continue to invade streets. There are no clusters of people straining their necks to look at the massive Rockefeller tree, nor are there many religious ceremonies. But even through the hardships, I've noticed a resurgence of a classic holiday activity. One day, on a casual stroll in my neighborhood, I peered, in the least creepy way possible, into the large windows of some of the brownstones. Every single one of them had a common factor: Christmas trees. I did not pass a home or apartment without the evergreen tree wrapped in rainbow lights. This led me to ponder why we're all in a tree frenzy. The most logical reasons are probably due to a lack of travel. If you vacation during the holiday season, you probably won't be purchasing a tree. But thinking about it from a psychological point of view, it makes sense. Everyone has undergone this expansive change. Life as we know it is gone, and the holiday joy that we've all felt has dissipated. But these trees in people's homes are a thing of wonder. We're all tired of seeing the death toll rise every time we turn on the television, but at the same time, we can't truly distract ourselves. But a Christmas tree is a new life. It is something that eats up our time but also connects us through the act of decorating. No matter if you're fighting with mom or irritated by a sibling, everyone circles around the bushel of pine standing in the home. The divisiveness in the country right now is incalculable, but all of those windows busy with bright trees remind me that even in our most difficult times, we all come together. We all latch on each other and rely on one another to survive. Much like the lights on those trees, we are all intertwined with the goal of bringing light into our world.
Hello, I'm Katchagai. I'm a first-year mentor and a Girls Right Now alum, and it is my honor to introduce Amanda Musmacher, my mentee. Amanda is a senior in high school and has been accepted to the Macaulay Honors Program at Hunter College for the fall. They are a co-founder of the Mental Health Club at their high school and are a vocal advocate for economic and racial justice. Being paired with Amanda has been one of the highlights of a dark year. Amanda's incisive thoughts on everything from foreign policy to pop culture is miles ahead of where I was at their age, and their intelligence and passion give me hope for the future. I hope you enjoy their writing.
A woman is lost. A woman is lost to the years that I do not remember and the moments I cannot forget. Tired eyes and leaving without goodbyes, the minutes turn to hours as days turn to nights. All as a woman is lost. There is no one seeking her arrival, and there is no one penetrating through the thick of the chemicals that fill the midnight air. There is no one plunging through the waters. There is no one and nothing there. When you shout, only an echo reflects back as the bountiful winds swirl throughout your mind. A woman is lost, and all you can do is lay, listlessly, crossing your arms over your chest as your shallow breaths submerge your body into the passed-down memory foam. You wonder if this is how she laid, as the truth of never waking up again solidified. Did she know she was lost? A woman is lost as vehicles collide, as the sun collides with the horizon, the moment when dread sets in, the split second when reality becomes real. A woman is lost, and all that remains is a vacant online profile. Photographs have become her remembrance. There is nothing she will leave behind that will be passed down, except for the pictures of her that have begun to fade. Brown, curled corners that make it hard to slip back into crinkled plastic, so better to let them remain there. A woman is stuck behind cellophane. A woman walks down the street searching. Her eyes are wide and her pupils turn to deep dark pits, the fruit of the mind exposed to the lingering chill in the city of exhaustion, the concrete beneath her filling the holes in the soles of her shoes. A woman was digging through bins. A woman was digging fingernails into her skin, burrowing herself into herself as she closed in on the body she was forced to prop up. And a woman never found what she was looking for, indulging in the things that made her feel like she did. A woman did not know she was lost in the curling streets that she crumbled into. It was the first time she had been found. She was placed into a box that could withstand the weight of 6 feet of dirt. The dirt under her fingernails would decay like the floorboards underneath her feet that squirmed with maggots if you looked close enough, but you never looked. And still, countless maggots followed her, squelching.
Hi, Girls Right Now. I'm Janelle Yee. I write and direct short films and I produce podcasts. I've been mentoring MJ, who is a high school senior majoring in dance and medicine. She writes her own music along with her own poetry. I've been guiding MJ as she writes her first book of poetry. It's really cool. I hope we get to share the book when it's done. But for now, MJ is going to perform an original music piece.
Hi, so the original song that I'm going to be playing is called Dear Friend, and it's about loving someone, either it being a friend or a partner, but not letting that change who you are as a person.
'cause you've seen the light. Call back to the times, tell me you're fine. Ooh, don't slam the door, don't ever leave. I know now it's not a dream. You're not alone, not for tonight, because dear friend, you'll be alright. And who are you trying to be? Oh, behind the mask you see. Oh, I swear I'll always love you too, but I will never be like you, dear friend. For each other always, I'll be by your side. And when you're breaking down tonight, keep your mind wide open, don't you ever hide, and you'll be ready this time to not slam the door, to not ever leave, not anymore. It's not a dream, you're not alone, no more fights, 'cause dear friend, your life is right. And who are you trying to be? Behind the mask you see. I swear I'll always love you too, but I will never be like you.
Seeing what all the mentees have put together is so incredible. It goes to show that we have some true talent at Girls Right Now.
And MJ, what a beautiful song, and such a poignant tribute and reminder that it's really our friendships that have gotten us through this year. Right, Emanuela? And now, please give a warm digital welcome to tonight's Agent of Change, Abby Dare. And Abby is the author of The Girl with the Louding Voice, which was a New York Times bestseller, a Read with Jenna Today Show book club pick, and an Indie Next pick. She grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, and now lives in Essex in the UK with her husband and her 2 daughters, who inspired her to write her debut novel, which we have such a treat in store for you. We will hear an excerpt from.
So Abby, in line with our theme, we have just one question for you. How do you unmute yourself in your work and in your life?
I'm very excited to be reading an excerpt from The Girl with the Louding Voice. In this scene, Aduni and Miss Tia are having a conversation. What you see in me, Miss Tia? She shake her head. Hold my 2 hands up. Make it like 2 bars so she can peep my face, the real me behind the bars. It feels like she's climbing out of herself and entering into my own soul, my heart. Tell me, what do you want most out of life? She asks. For my mama not to be dead, I say, my voice breaking. For her to come back and make everything better. I know, she say with a soft, sad smile. I know. But can you think of something else you want? To go to school, I say. And now to win the scholarship. And why is it so important to you, Aduni? My mama say education will give me a voice. I want more than just a voice, Miss Tia. I want a louding voice, I say. I want to enter a room and people will hear me even before I open my mouth to be speaking. I want to live in this life and help many people so that when I grow old and die, I will still be living through the people I'm helping. Think it, Miss Tia. If I can go to school and become a teacher, then I can collect my salary and maybe even build my own school in Ikati and be teaching the girls. The girls in my village don't have much chance for school. The girls in my village don't have much chance for school. I want to change that, Miss Tia, because those girls, they will grow up and born many more great people to make Nigeria even more better than now. How do you meet yourself? In the scene I just read, Miss Tia holds Aduni's hands and makes them like a bar, and she looks into Aduni to see the real her. My question is, who is the real you? I believe that in unmuting yourself, you need to know who you are. For a very long time, I wasn't sure who I was. I went around trying all sorts of things. And then I found out that I had found something powerful in the ability to tell stories, to write. I believe that unmuting yourself is finding that which sets your soul on fire. It's about speaking up against injustice. For me, I use my writing to speak up against injustice. It's about making a positive impact. Aduni decides at a very young age, very early on in life, that her need and a desire to get an education is not just for herself, but to help other people. So I ask you, what is that thing in you that desires to help others, and in what way? And how do you do this? I believe that we all have a voice. That there's a good in every one of us, and there's something inside of us that needs to shine through. Now, by believing in yourself, by pursuing those things you want, by nurturing your talents and your gifts, and by finding your purpose and sharing it, you are muting yourself. By being courageous, feeling the fear, seeing the fear, and going ahead anyway. And by speaking up in the way you know how. Through your writing, you've done that. I urge you to continue to do that. And surely your voice will be heard. Continue to be brave. Much love from me.
Abby, thank you so much for that wonderful excerpt. And what I love about what a louding voice is and your definition of unmuting is that central to those two things is helping others. And so many of our mentees, as you know, Emanuela, showed up this year for their friends, for their family, for their communities, to comfort and to help them in small and big ways. And it's such an important message we see throughout your book and in our Unmuted anthology as well, that we all have to find ways to be of service to each other, to show up for each other. And that is a big part of having an unmuted voice.
Yes, of course. I definitely noticed that as well. I also love that you mentioned that in order to be unmuted, you must know yourself. Knowing the real us is so vital in order to know where our unique power lies. For me, I have found myself through my writing, and my creativity has grown through Girls Right Now workshops and my weekly pair sessions with Grace.
One of the best gifts about being your mentor, Miss Emanuela, is listening to you share your dreams. And as you know, I'm always nudging you to dream a little bigger, dream a little wider. And you come back with some big dreams. But it's definitely a highlight to be able to dream with you, to mastermind with you, to watch you think through who you want to be in the world. And so for those of you watching, if you want to find a community to dream with, enrollment is officially open. Visit girlsrightnow.org/enroll to apply to be a mentee or a mentor, or register for an upcoming open house to learn more. Or you can support our programming at girlsrightnow.org/give, or by getting a copy of Girls Right Now Unmuted and a second copy as a gift for the most unmuted person you know.
That's a good one. Now we have a lot more incredible work to show you tonight. Please enjoy.
Hi, my name is Ting Ting, and I'm so honored to introduce Na Yang. This year, I've had the privilege of sharing stories and much healing laughter with her over difficult topics such as racial justice and ancestral trauma. Her curiosity is contagious, and her sincerity has brought me so much joy. For example, she once referred to the last century as the 1900s, which certainly means that I'm a relic. But I'm happy that our current century will see creators as inspiring and wise as her.
This multimedia piece was a collaboration between Ting Ting and myself. The title is El Dorado Vintage Shop, an homage to the street name my family's first business was on, as well as a play on words to have the mythical lost city of gold be compared to the treasure trove of precious childhood and vintage items Ting Ting and I curated for the slideshow. Accompanying with the nostalgic pictures of our items are short stories which will be read in excerpts for this video. Brother VX 1435, vintage sewing machine, mint condition, lifetime warranty, refurbished with stickers. The stitches weave through my skin, each poking loop riveting my flesh together and reminding me of the motherland. Even so, I struggle to keep a tight grip. Bundles of seams fall out and scatter my patchwork memories of sweet-smelling grass fields and the buzzing of silvery summer cicadas. The warm smell of roasted chestnuts and kittens bathing in the sun are replaced 14 years later with mothballs and terracotta roof tiles. The remnants of Halmoni and Haraboji, Imo and Samchun, Chonju and Kosan are shoved away in the attic that holds old blankets and buttons from my childhood. It's starting to seem like the only memories that last are the ones that seep under my skin and stay warm under my tongue, which is shorter than those of my classmates due to the hangul that once sculpted it.
There must have been something in the water, because all three died young. The tumor one, the one called Hammy the hamster, and then there's the one I can't really remember, but my mother cried over, or at least I think she cried over, because that day she was in the shower for 2 hours or 3, so long that I thought she might have fainted or slipped and banged her head against the tub. I remember checking the doorknob, locked. I remember pressing my ear against the white door, cold. And I remember trying to hear something, running water. When she finally comes out of the shower, all pruny, her pores still weeping, she says, I can't do it again. No more hamsters ever again. So these are it, these hamsters in heaven. Condition is used, shipped with USPS first class.
Leah Bardugo said faith is more powerful than any army, but so are brilliant young women, and it's my honor to present one of them to you tonight. Her name is Amihan Del Rosario Tapan. She is in 9th grade, and she is amazing. You are going to love her. I'm Farron Krenzel, her mentor at Girls Right Now, and this is Amihan.
I was called bossy all the time. People would tell my mom, oh, she's bossy one, isn't she? Or, oh, she's sassy. As a kid, I wasn't taken to any Eagles games, and I didn't get to go to the Super Bowl parade. Instead, I was brought to musicals on Broadway. My brother is 4 years younger than me. He's been to 2 Eagles games and went to the Super Bowl parade. As a kid, I was told to sit like a lady. That meant even though I had jeans on like my best friend Aiden, because I was a girl, I couldn't sit comfortably. I forced myself to learn how to sit uncomfortably, squeezing my knees together.
Dad grew up in Philly and is a hardcore sports fan, so I grew up admiring the Philadelphia Eagles, blindly loving the team. I jumped when Papa screamed touchdown and was upset when they lost. And I called the Dallas Cowboys the Cowgirls, like him, my cousin, aunt, and uncle. I teased my elementary school crush by telling him he hit like a girl. Now I can box. November 8th, 2016 was my 10th birthday. It was also a historic presidential election. The night of my birthday, before I went to bed, I told my mom that the only birthday gift that mattered was going to arrive tomorrow morning when I wake up to the first female president of the United States. America wasn't ready. Hillary Clinton was perceived to be emotional and therefore weak. One Trump supporter said a woman couldn't be a president because they had too many hormones and would start a war too quickly. Yet in America, every war has been started by a man. The phrase, be a leader, not a follower, has been preached since I was little, but when I was advised people what to do in projects and help organize who did what, I was bossy. I was conditioned as a little girl to think that I was inferior to men. You hit like a girl, stop being such a little girl, you sound like a spoiled girl, or even, you're such a pussy versus you got some balls. And so men are told to man up, that crying makes them weak, so when Harry Styles wears a dress on the cover of Vogue, society says to bring back manly men. Double standards, gender norms, they are breaking everyone.
Hi, my name is Rachel Feltman, and you are about to hear from my mentee, Maya Oliva. She is a very talented poet and was before we met. But this year, during our pair sessions, we have spent a lot of time writing poetry together, and it has been so wonderful. I'm really thrilled for the rest of you to get to hear just a little bit of her amazing work.
I am Maya Olivo, and this poem is called Music Makers. It's about all of our desires for escape in a mundane world. Here we go. Close your eyes, forget about time, forget about school and waiting in line, forget about dreams and conversation, take a trip out of the Gen Z station, walk down the stairs, glue into pairs, glide a scissor through all your clothes to wear, forget about sleep till your eyes are wood, now your body can go wherever it should. Think about sledding on a summer's day, think about city somersaults in May. Think about glitter, glasses, and fun. Read an article on how to love someone. Music makers, the dreamers of dreams. We're among the fairies who dance in our sleep. The music makers, the dreamers of dreams. We're among the fairies who dance in our sleep. They play and slide and hide. They want to get out. They bang on the door, but their hands shatter. But if not together, they'll fly no more. Down they drop, heavy lead to your shoes. You feel it when you walk outside. You feel it when you open your eyes. You feel it when you remember time, remember school, and waiting in line. Think about trees poking holes in your kite. Think about grueling, expensive delight. Think about fairies dying behind the sea. Our starving satisfaction is what makes us all free. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anna Humphrey, and I'm proud to be Claire Gianosa's mentor. Claire and I have worked together for 2 years, and it's been an honor to watch her grow as a writer and as a person. One of the things I've enjoyed working on together most is Claire's first novel. Her creativity as an author is matched only by her devotion to the strong characters and the incredible world that she's bringing to life. I'm so excited that you're going to get a glimpse of that world now.
Thank you, Anna. As Anna said, my piece is an excerpt of a fantasy novel I've been working on for about a year now, in which a young girl is whisked away into another world by falling into it. My main character's, or Charlotte's story, starts when she runs away from home after a fight with her parents. But the overall story is rooted in friendship, the friendship Charlotte shares with Rhea, and this excerpt demonstrates their first meeting. Charlotte took a deep breath and turned the corner, another alleyway. But as she kept running, she felt inexplicably warm. The dirty stretch of sidewalk no longer felt like just an alleyway, but like a home. That thought sent her mind spiraling. She instinctively thought of wings and high-pitched laughs, hardly paying attention to where she was going. Oof! The sound escaped Charlotte's lips before she registered what had happened. She collided with something. No, someone. And looked to the side to see the flash of an arm. She immediately jerked back when the floor seemed to fall under her. Charlotte screamed as air came rushing up all around her, rippling her clothes and cupping around the sides of her ears. Her stomach churned in circles, and she flung her arms in a futile attempt to grab onto something. Then her entire body jerked violently, and her feet gently landed back on solid ground. "Sorry about that," an unknown voice squeaked. Charlotte shakily lifted her head and saw a girl with dark skin and an apologetic expression give her a little wave. It's always jarring the first time. "I'm sorry," Charlotte said as she cleared her throat. "What just happened?" "We fell," the girl replied, smiling brightly. Charlotte then realized something was off. The air in her skin felt different, cooler but all-encompassing, like the remnants of a hug. She smelled all different types of herbs and spices that tickled her nose with their unfamiliarity. And when she took a deep breath, her entire body felt weightless. Charlotte looked back at the girl. She seemed about her age, and the bright gold dress she wore was almost blinding. "Where, exactly, did I fall?" Charlotte asked, almost afraid to hear the answer. Thank you.
I'm Elena Graydon, a writer, professor, and Girls Right Now mentor, and I've had the great honor and pleasure of working with mentee May Hathaway for the past 2 years. And working with May each week has been one of the very best things about this difficult COVID year. She's accomplished such incredible things, and as she graduates and moves on to college, I'm just so happy and excited for her and so grateful that I've gotten a chance to know her.
Hello, this is my poem Coda Tree. Coda Tree is a poem written in the form of code, so I wanted to use the C programming language and its functions to express different aspects of personhood in a poem. Narrative.c. Include stdo.h. Include string.h. Include stdbool.h. Bool, am I selling out? Bool, good person. Void, produce art. Start function. Int pride equals 10. Printf, aren't you glad that you didn't sell out? Printf, aren't you? End function. Void exist. Start function. Printf, you are a person. End function. Void exist upgraded. Start function. Int pride equals 0. Printf, you are a person with money. End function. Int main. Start function. If am I selling out equals true, exist upgraded. If am I selling out equals false, good person equals true. If good person equals true, exist. Return 0. End function. Output. You are a person. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alicia Court, and I'm here to introduce my mentee, Alex Cruz. Alex is in her junior year of high school and has already written more pages of fiction than most people. She's inquisitive and always eager to learn more about writing. Tonight, she's reading her Girls Right Now unmuted anthology piece titled Morning Shade.
My name is Alexandra Cruz. This is a short story I wrote about my morning routine. Mornings are really special to me, so I wrote about my process of making coffee and my thoughts on what mornings represent. This is like in the middle of the story. Starting a new day right felt like the immense weight being lifted when starting a new story after finishing the last. Ingredients from all over the kitchen flew onto the counter. A carton, a mason jar, a container of speckled sweetness, and lastly a cup of ice cubes. A small button was pressed with a blue light and the machine whirred to life, filling the once sleeping kitchen with noise. The mason jar was perfectly placed under the machine until a dark brown liquid poured into the jar, filling the kitchen with its bitter yet tempting aroma. Not a second could be wasted, and the day's dance began with a calming rhythm. Almond milk, brown sugar, and the ice cubes one after the other, too much or too little of any of them, and it would be ruined. Once it was done, it was topped off with a metal straw. The perfect iced coffee was complete. The mason jar floated through the air and landed on the white desk in the room. It never got old. It was something that could be controlled. It was always the same. With all the unsure things in life, at least there was still this one time in the day where nothing mattered and the background would disappear with the cold sip of coffee. The early morning sounds of New York faded away, and you could be anywhere in the world. Thoughts of the day's activities jumped around. So many possibilities. Yoga, knitting, writing, cooking, so many things were in store, and the day was its own to shape. Everything in life is finite, and soon events and people would just be distant memories, remembrances of a different time. Right now, this one moment was forever. This routine had become the only thing that stitched each day together, proof that each day had passed and a new one was beginning. The seconds passed by easily as a wandering mind continued to think and wonder. There was a book that still had to be read, a story to be written, and a day to conquer. Slowly the mason jar was depleted. Pure contentment, a sigh of happiness. Was there nothing this perfect coffee couldn't fix? Once the morning was over and the mason jar was empty, nothing could be predicted, and that was a scary thought. For now, there was no need to worry for such things, because now there was only this moment and this morning, and when this was gone, something else would take its place.
Hi everyone, my name is Elena Nicolau, and I'm so excited for all of you to hear my mentee Isabel Marks read her wonderful poem, her award-winning poem. We have had such a wonderful year together, but the most fun we've had was after Oprah's interview with Meghan and Harry. We were so inspired by the entire scenario that we decided to start writing a gothic horror novel inspired by Meghan and Harry, in which the royal family are harboring lots of secrets, coming to a shelf near you.
Hi, I'm Isabel. I chose to share this poem over any other because it's about a friend breakup, and I think that that's something that should be talked about more and should be turned into more poems, especially with all of the complexities that come along, I think, with female friendship in particular. This poem was a big part of processing for me and figuring out how I felt about everything, and I think that a good thing about poetry is that it asks you to distill complex emotions into a few specific words. Headaches. Are you too polite to tell me that I'm crying? My cheeks are so flushed that I see pink when I stare at my reflection in the window behind you. Your lips are parted just enough for me to see you biting your tongue. Be careful, that will hurt like a motherfucker if it starts bleeding. Pop-Tarts and the hemorrhage, please, and all of my poems are about you. Forget all the poems, all the paths lead to you. I am in a fucking maze where it's you or a blockade, baby, and even though we haven't talked in a year, your ghosts give me headaches. I'm still angry, but I don't know how to do that. Add that to the list. Teach me righteous indignation and clean logic. I have to stop buying child Advil. Because, no, I still can't swallow pills.
Hi, I'm Katrin Van Dam, and I have the honor of introducing my mentee, Lucia Kim. How to describe a mentee like Lucia. Curious, kind, determined ball of fire. How do you find a word that means Lucia? A total go-getter who never seems to tire. Many a thing we've worked on as a pair now. Many a thing she quickly understands. I'm lucky that she's my match. She really is quite a catch. Ready to fix the world with her own two hands. Oh, how do you help a mentee like Lucia? I just stand back and watch her make her plans. Go get 'em, Lucia.
Hi, my name is Lucia Kim, and I'm a first-year mentee and a sophomore in high school. Throughout my whole life, I went to the same church every Sunday. It was the church that my mom went to when she first moved to America, and since then, she's built her own community of friends. Since most of my relatives live in Korea, they've become part of my family. I spend every holiday with them, and when one of the families in the group is out of rice, another will scoop some out of their own cabinet, put it in a Ziploc bag, and bring it to the member in need. But with every family member, there are qualities that you love about them, and then there are qualities that you don't love as much. I wrote a story about those qualities. It's called Full House with the KMA. I like to refer to my mom's inner circle as a KMA. This stands for the Korean Moms Association. It can also stand for what you want to yell so bad when listening to their conversations. Ashley, are you done writing your college supplements? Hurry up! Why aren't you done? They're important. Kiss my ass, KMA. My son bought me a bag for my birthday. Let me show you. Hold on. Kill me already, KMA. Luckily, my mom is different from her friends. I appreciate her for not telling the whole Bayside Church about my goals and aspirations. I'm one of the lucky kids because the other moms are the epitome of oversharers. They brag about the hundreds their sons have gotten on their math tests. They brag about their daughters and how they receive recognition from their principal. They talk about how their kids will be dentists, doctors, and lawyers and how they are the perfect candidates for Harvard. You'll know a member of the KMA's bragging, but they'll never say it straight up. Every time it's, oh, I don't think my son is smart, but his tutor says he's very quick at learning Mandarin and very fast at picking up new information. Or, My son never told me college is tiring because he's not the type to complain, but the dermatologist said he has acne because he goes to Vanderbilt. It's a very rigorous school. And sometimes it's, my son never practices the piano because he's a boy, what do you expect? But his fingers are very flexible. They know what they're doing. They're sneaky. Even though the KMA drives me crazy, they're like my extended family. They gossip, but they make me laugh. They rooted me in my Korean identity even though I was growing up as an American. I forgot to say that KMA can also stand for keeping memories alive. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I'm so excited and proud to introduce my mentee today. She has worked endlessly throughout the pandemic, always putting her best foot forward. Her writing and artwork both tell beautiful stories that one day will be heard, and the literary world will say her name. Rachel?
Hi, my name is Rachel Setre, and my poem is about different aspects of being Black, from curly hair to culture. It's also about the struggle and the beauty that comes from loving yourself. Thank you, and here is The Diaspora. The Diaspora. These wild curls that go into different swirls. The naps of my ancestors who gave birth to protesters with deep dark flesh like the night and the earth. Hair that looks like the trees the world gave birth, like brown sugar and everything sweet. It's our own rhythm. We swing to our own beat, like the African diaspora that spans from Jamaica to Madagascar. Like Ya Ashanti, the freedom my ancestors never saw. Did they know that we would hit ourselves so? Even though we secretly glow. I know they envy my grace and try to make us hate the world's true birthplace. We came from kings and queens, tribes and more, and bodies who refuse to be enslaved. Spirits still live in those shores. And they laugh at our names, names that survived, could have been forever lost. Do they know the cost? Telling me I should achieve straight blonde hair, blue eyes, and pale skin. Where should I begin? Like Breonna Taylor, 'cause even though she died, she didn't go a failure. Yes, my nose is wide, and so are my lips. My cultures fall on me like the beads on my hips. I'm black as the night, as black as tar. But for a while, I wasn't my number one star. Saying I'm whitewashed, but this blackness can never be tainted. I'm sorry if you can't see the picture that's been painted. Surprised when I make my way down these Bronx streets with my vernacular. But once this little girl found her voice, everything that came out of it been spectacular.
First of all, Katrin, that Sound of Music introduction was amazing. I know we always talk about the mentees, but let's give it up for our mentors. But I also have to ask, Grace, how's that song about me coming along?
I'll start working on it now. No promises, but I will.
It's so amazing to see the work from the book come alive, like Rachel's piece, The Diaspora. To see your beautiful art alongside your beautifully crafted words. It was all so good.
Yes, let me echo that, Rachel. Thank you for celebrating my Caribbean heritage in that poem and Emanuela's African heritage in the diaspora. It was wonderful. This year, all of us have been impacted by acts of racial injustice sweeping through our communities. And we've been trying to make sense of the loss of so many we love to this pandemic. It is so critical that we recognize the importance of taking time for mourning and for grieving. And so in our brief time together tonight, we invite you to join us for a moment of silence to honor the lives we've lost and we've loved.
Thank you for that moment. I believe it is something that we all really needed. There are times that we need a moment of silence, and there are times that we should recognize the resilient work of others. Please join us in thanking all of our essential workers and all fierce advocates for justice.
Thank you.
To keep the love going around, let's hear for tonight's performers. Wherever you are, give them a round of applause. What incredible work.
We also want to thank you, our generous Agent of Change partners, especially Dutton and Amazon Literary Partners, our Girls Right Now Circle, our dedicated board of directors and staff, our print editorial committee, our talented mentors and mentees, and all of you who joined us tonight.
If you're feeling moved or inspired by the work you saw tonight, there's so much more of it in our new book, Girls Right Now, Unmuted. And if you'd like to support us, which I think you should, you can make a donation at girlsrightnow.org/give or join the circle at girlsrightnow.org/circle.
And you want more girls right now in your life. So apply to be a Girls Right Now mentee or mentor by visiting girlsrightnow.org/enroll. The next Girls Right Now live episode is coming up this Friday, May 21st with Ashley C. Ford, the author of the forthcoming memoir, Somebody's Daughter.
Congratulations, and thank you once again to our performer pairs for sharing your stories and letting us behind the scenes of the process creating them.
Good night, Emanuela. You were the best co-host I could ask for. Thank you. Good night, everybody.